All right. Okay, the power panel. We've been waiting for this all week. I'm really excited. We have this amazing group of women to talk about indoor environment. This is also one of my loves, and my one of my first research studies was on how the indoor built environment affects the way that we work. I am Elizabeth Nelson. I'm one of the co-founders of the Smart Building Collective and the Smart Building Certification. And I am the lucky one with the best job of being the head of research and innovation. So I get to do all the fun stuff, including talk to some amazing people here. So can I just get around the table where you all introduce yourselves to? Maria, you want to go first? Yeah.
Yes, I was just waiting to see who was going to start. So yeah, just a big pleasure of being myself the first one to introduce myself. My name is Maria Figols. I come from Spain, north of Spain, from a startup company called InBiot. I'm a passionate about the impact of buildings on health and global health, on behavior, and the way I work. I've been working as a technical architect and technical building engineer, and right now I'm one of the co-founders of the company and health and sustainability director. So yeah, working on research and R&D and projects, trying to promote health as much as we can through technology, which is I'll get to know a little bit later what we work on, but it's related with smart solutions for buildings.
Amazing. Oh, that's great. Who wants to go next?
Well, I can go next then. I'm Oindrilla, and I'm the head of solution architecture at Physee. Again, we are a smart building platform. Indeed, during the presentation, we would be speaking a lot more about smart building technologies and its impact on energy and especially indoor environment, health and well-being. But a bit of background on myself. I really come from the building performance and simulations background. I have my work also entails that, really trying to assess how we can help buildings really optimize themselves with addition, not only with our product, but also with different design strategies to make sure it runs in its most optimal condition while providing best visual as well as thermal comfort to the occupants and users. I also had a very much of a deep research background where I was really working on advanced facade technologies. And then after my research and R&D stint for 3-4 years, I decided to really jump into the industry and really start promoting it because always the transition is slow. And I am actually optimistic about how it's looking now. People are putting their hearing ears on, so that's nice. So that's about me.
Hi, my name is Mania. I'm from Camac Space. A short way to introduce us, we would say that we are the future of workplace and future of commercial real estate experts. My personal interest is people, organizations, and well-being of the people, like primarily at work, plus at home, obviously, since hybrid work. And we do want to make better places for people to work in, where they feel like that they belong, and primarily that they are healthy, because I think a lot of office space is inadequate at the moment. And we do want to change that. We do want people to be healthier, happier, and work better, be more productive.
Yeah, so I think that's a great intro into this section. So where are we? You know, you're all doing research. I love that you're doing research and applying it and being very experimental. So where are we in this landscape? Are we where we should be with building environment? Or how far are we from that? Anybody want to jump in?
Okay, let me go ahead again. I try to be positive here because usually when these type of questions arise, it's like, oh no, there's still a lot to go, and yeah, that would be my first short answer. That maybe we still have a lot to work, so many things to do related with how we develop and how we behave in indoor spaces. But I want to say here that I think somehow indoor environmental quality is already an issue on the table in design offices, in real estate decision-making companies, stakeholders, local authorities, regulations. Like everything is more or less already starting to talk about first indoor air quality, indoor environmental quality. Maybe because of the lessons learned during the past 2 years as a matter of international public health. Maybe that's why the technical sector has already opened its eyes to incorporate criteria beyond the more purely constructive criteria in buildings. However, I still have the feeling that the customer, the user, is not yet aware of its importance and the real impact on your health and well-being. Not aware to the point to invest in the workplace, to invest in their home quality, in the environmental conditions, in either of the spaces where we spend our times. So yeah, some little steps have already been taken. I think in the research sector, there's a lot of work doing. Right now, so many people working on this sector, so many building certifications coming out, and having all these criteria that more or less can help us define all these criteria. But still, I think, yeah, we still need a lot of work to do related with awareness. So the real demand from people, from workers, from us as people using homes and using buildings that really want to invest in converting our workspaces and homes in healthier and promoting healthier spaces there. So
And
yeah, that would be more or less.
What spaces are we seeing the most progress in now? Because, we knew that kind of all of our spaces were really suffering. Are some of our spaces accelerating and some maybe staying behind? Andrilla, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think in the sector that I operated in the commercial sector, especially like high where there are higher investments, like really large offices, state of the art, they are indeed looking towards they're looking beyond, because they know they have to provide a premier space, and they get that. So that's why I'm saying that some of the I see all the, as Maria mentioned, I do see that like a lot of people are quite ignorant. And also in a smaller office spaces, if the BVO is smaller, typically I see there's more ignorance. But then if you have larger spaces, and then in very competitive areas like in Amsterdam, Zuidas, these kind of spaces, you totally see that in order to maintain the competition, they are looking for per square meter how much they can give benefits to the tenants, and it can be in terms of any kinds of functionalities, and in order to make the quality or the experience of being in the office the highest class, people are opening up and have their landing years towards smart technology. Yeah, go ahead.
Indoor air quality then a luxury product?
No, not at all. But I was talking more in terms of.
But I don't know. I kind of think it's becoming that. Lots of low CO2 levels is a new benefit at the workplace, right?
Indeed, ventilation has become very important. Indoor air quality is extremely important. Daylight, visual comfort, all of these different parameters have become extremely important, because the idea is to be able to make sure your tenants are extremely productive, or the users or the employees are very productive, because we all know this has changed in past 1 or 2 years, but before, the energy was quite cheap. Not last year, the whole equation changed so much, even in our business tactics, because of last year's energy prices. But in general, it was like, okay, energy prices, we can cope with that. but what more can we provide to the occupants? Then it really does become about ensuring that you have the right amount of daylight coming in, you have really good CO2 levels, you have better information being provided to the occupants about energy use and making them more aware, and really creating a seamless experience. So we also, for example, one of our products is really about controlling the facade dynamically so that you reduce glare discomfort, because it's one of the most instantaneous ways a person working on a laptop would have glare, right? So it's an instantaneous discomfort. So really going to that level where you're really trying to avoid any kind of hindrance to productivity, and people are interested in that. But indeed, it is very low, it's very niche. Only with investors with deeper pockets and really looking towards, in larger cities. So that's how I would put it.
Okay, so right now you would say the commercial sector within larger cities, or the cities that have the funding to do so, who's the last to get indoor air quality, do you think? What is the last area?
I would say smaller offices, office spaces, smaller offices. They are really the untapped potential, as we would say, because for developers and investors, they just want to abide by certain rules and regulations, and then they just want to sell off the building core shell, and then it's about the and then it's really about the tenants, and the tenants are also smaller organizations and necessarily might not invest so much on occupant productivity, whereas we all know the 990 rule about where the money goes in terms of people, buildings, and energy usage. But that I would put it as that the untapped potential is the smaller buildings that are being built or renovated. So that's where we need to focus more attention on, indeed.
Okay, and normalize healthy environments.
Indeed. And it's a really, as Maria mentioned, it's a lot about market awareness and creating that awareness amongst real estate developers and contractors, because they just want to finish the checklist items and then just go beyond. Before it was fine because it's such a lucrative market. Anyway, they would have sold their buildings, but now with pandemic, you don't even need that many office spaces anymore. So you really need to give high quality spaces. That's where we're seeing the direction is heading towards lesser space, but really high quality space. And in order to catch up to that, indeed, everybody has to be really aware about how to utilize, indoor air quality, as well as these kind of thermal comfort parameters for people to bring in more tenants.
So let's get back to the people. Oh, sorry.
No, I just wanted to add on, because I definitely agree that the part of the issue is that companies see offices as a cost. So they just want to have it less, as cheap as possible. Investors want to do it for as cheap as possible, sell it off. So they do need to make a shift in mindset that if you want to attract people, you do want to give them something. You have to give them something. Because now they know they have a choice. Since COVID, a lot of people were working from home. So in order to bring them to the office, you have to offer them healthy, adequate space. Otherwise, they will have no incentive to come back.
Yeah. And do you guys feel like do you feel like individuals are aware of healthy spaces, or do you think that they're used to unhealthy spaces and are kind of fighting it? I got brought in to do an episode of a TV program here in the Netherlands. And they, instead of doing the interview, they actually had me hang sensors because they said, "Oh, you do that," and to prove that the indoor air quality was really bad. And they filmed that segment and they put it out there, which I give them credit for. But all of these people had this reaction. I knew it. I knew this wasn't. But shouldn't we? I mean, we know, right? We know when we get dry eyes or nosebleeds, even, or headaches. So are we fighting this as individuals, and how do we relearn how to our kind of survival instincts a little bit in this?
Yeah, that's a tricky question, because I think at some point we all are aware about, that is something that is affecting me, but somehow as workers are not the ones who have to invest in their offices. It's not that important. So for us, working in indoor air quality solutions, what we try to promote is transparency and communication for everybody, all the agents involved, not only for the building owner, not only for the user, but for all of them. So we try to give the information, or to convert the data about indoor air quality that we can measure, we can monitor. That's quite easy technology, but to use the data, convert it in information, and that information to use it to work on that awareness that we were talking about. So that's when the building owner, or the directive from the company, and the worker sit at the same space and see, okay, there's something going on. We try to work together because it affects all of us. So it's about, for me, it's not about talking that much about productivity, but about people, trying people to the center of the discussion. And that's why, that's when everybody's at the same level. And even though the awareness level is not the same, it helps to understand what it means, because it can be a very tricky thing, understanding the air, understanding all the mechanical ventilation system, and all the technology that comes with the building might be quite difficult for someone that has never understood anything about building or engineering or architecture. But being able to understand what you're breathing inside the building, inside your office, it really is a game changer, and really helps everybody work together. So yeah, it's should be luxury, and it is not, to be able to understand what is going on. And once you understand, once you see what you're breathing, that's when you can act. That's when you can take action, and work for a solution, of course. Because people like, I knew it was like high levels of CO2 or whatever parameter you're measuring, but what to do with that? And that's the point. That's where, like, people working on this topic that can help give a solution, or work on a very global solution for everybody, not only for bigger buildings and new buildings, but also for all these old buildings that nobody wants to invest. But people there are as important as people in bigger buildings. So that's the point of view for me, I think.
Yeah.
I would say oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
I would say that we're not fighting enough. I would have to agree with Elizabeth that I think our standards are just too low. Obviously, that doesn't go for the whole market. Some markets are a bit more advanced, some less. But definitely, I've seen buildings where I was like, how can you work here? And they were like, oh, no, it's fine. And it's either they just haven't seen better, maybe, or they just got used to it, you know? So awareness we need to build an awareness, because it's not good. It's not healthy. And in the end, it affects employers as well. They just don't see it. You know, if you just count the sick leave days, I mean, you're losing money, but they don't look at it that way, not yet.
Yeah, we get used to it. I mean, our body gets used to bad conditions, and that's the way we work. And it's our, biological intelligence to adapt to your environment. But that's not the point. The point is, to promote, to adapt to a healthier space, because that's our right, actually.
Yeah, that's very true. And I totally, just to add on to what you guys said, is like, that's why we do need smarter technologies, because then it's just about certain data points that you have, and then you start using that data to really bring awareness just by putting the information on, and they know, oh, this is what's happening. And then, for example, it's also important to go a step further. So, for example, not needing to have the consensus between every tenant as well. But for example, you have what the Sense Smart Building platform we do is we not only sense, but we also start controlling, right? So the idea is, again, bringing you back to the feedback mechanisms that like, okay, if somebody is really changing the set points to whatever temperature they want to, or they want to increase the ventilation, these are all being reported, taken, and all these historical data is then training your machine learning models. If you have a smart building platform, then you can use that model to like retrain your control logic for different building installation systems. So it automatically takes into account people's adaptive behavior and then then you're just progressively getting better and you have lesser and lesser complaints. I understand that this sounds maybe it's not for everyone, or it sounds too, but it's quite simple. And I hope that this technology really starts percolating from not only these higher standard commercial office spaces, but also gets adapted indeed via market awareness to every kind of office spaces, because indeed everybody has a right to a good, healthy working environment.
Well, it's a logical step too, right? Because once you start giving people feedback mechanisms, and they say, oh, the air condition, the indoor air environmental air quality is okay, and you have that on Tuesday, and you have that on Wednesday, and you have that on Thursday. We as human beings, we like progress, right? So if it's not learning, I think people will get very frustrated. And I will say, with my example, when they found out the indoor air quality, and they were Dutch, right? So that things happened. They took it to the very top and made quite a big deal of it, which is fantastic. That's what we need more of. So, but back to the basics. If we're talking about people, if we're talking about our best day, not even call it productivity, but just being healthy, being able to focus, being comfortable, all of this, what does that look like? What do we need in the indoor environment to put that together, as much as the indoor environment can play its part? Of course, there are many parts in being our best self that day, but what do we need?
Oh, a lot. I mean, it goes through basics like good air, lighting, thermal comfort. Then it goes to ergonomics, I would say, because we sit a lot every day, all day. So that's a must, I would say. I think even visuals, the design, it has to be pleasing to at least a certain degree, because we are visual people or visual beings. What else? It even goes to as far as to who are you sitting next to. I mean, people, we are complicated. Like if you don't like the colleague sitting next to you, you can sit in the best office and it's not going to help. But I think the basics plus the thermal comfort, but that's hard to achieve, especially in like open spaces. Like maybe for someone 20 degrees is perfect, but the person sitting next to him would like 25 and the next one 19, and then you have an issue already.
Yeah. Well, and that is the big issue with temperature, right? Women like around 2021 Celsius. Men are, ridiculous. They like 2 degrees colder. I read an article that I think we're going to put out with SBC, that women's brains actually function, that we function better. Of course, it makes sense, but at that 20, 21 degrees, that temperature that we feel comfortable at. So I sent that one to my husband, but anyway.
I would do the same.
Okay, so putting that all together, and we are different, and this group was actually talking about this concept of neurodiversity and having 4 generations in the office now, having people who are vastly different, that's the word I was looking for, vastly different in the way that their brains function or the time that they want to be at work. How do we deal with the fact that people are so different? Can we tackle this with the built environment, or should we?
Wow, yeah. Well, we should somehow, and that's where all this neuro architecture comes out, and by understanding how the building is made, how the the texture, how the colors, the light, all these like the design concept, all this beauty that we need to be that can promote the communication among the team. All of that helps, but needs to be understood on how we behave, like how our brain reacts to different inputs from the built environment. So that we can through design, we can through architecture, and we can through solutions to control the different environmental factors, we can design and have diverse spaces, like with I don't know, like temperature diverse office rooms, and but like understanding the whole diversity, and it could be by understanding the diversity of the team. So that again, that approach to the team, to the people that you're working with. So we can have in mind all the aspects that can help us, that makes us different from each other, like what I like, how I feel in my office, what I like to do in my office. I like to have my little plant, or I like the piano in the background. What about the noise? That also has a lot to do with indoor environment, and there might be a huge difference between the type of music I like to have in the background, and my teens here, younger age, that might like something a lot more. I don't know. Maybe it's not the type of music that I like for plays. So having the ability of making all of these diverse spaces is going to help everybody take part of their office, of their space, and through design and through understanding how it matters, I think we can take little steps towards it. And there's one thing I really, I like to understand about the neuroscience, is that a much more complex and fascinating concept that I like, which is perception, like the perception of the space, and yeah, and taking that into account in the impact of architecture or the design space or the, I don't know, the furniture design process. That is really interesting, and that is something in smaller and bigger projects we can do. And there's this.
Can you give an
Sorry.
example of that, Maria? Sorry, just in case people don't know what you mean by perception.
Yeah, for example, I mean, I'm not a neuroscientist at all, so just to have in mind, but really like reading and learning about neuroscientists. And there's this one Spanish neuroscientist here in Spain, and she points out that it can take half a second from the moment that we see something, that we, like the world around us comes to our eyes, until we are aware of it. I mean, half a second for the brain is a lot of time. So understanding that nothing is instantaneous, that like it's not. I mean, it takes some time for the information to reach the brain, but it also takes some time to leave. So that's why might seem too little, just like half a second, but it is a lot for the body to understand how to adapt to the place where you are. So that is again coming to beauty and harmony and proportion, and that you can do it in the design of an office for one person and in an open space for so many people, but not doing the same thing in every single workspace. I mean, you can adapt your design and your actions to promote this diversity that you were talking about. I don't know. It's all these neuroscience is fascinating, but might be quite difficult to take it to have it in mind. But it is to realize it is important, and to realize we can have that in our workspace again.
And I think to add to Maria, one is the passive way of designing, and it's such a complicated topic, right? Another thing that I see also that it is in research is like when you have room booking, and you're trying to, if you start linking your enterprise software, so for example, your email or like your Outlook, and then you know which room or the book spaces you're booking. Then also you have feedback mechanisms for certain spaces where you have actually put in, oh, I want it via your app, because you can connect to smart building platforms via your app, saying that, okay, I like this temperature at this whichever room I am in, and this is I don't want so much of a ventilation or the supply air, it's too drafty, put it down or switch it off. So they after a certain point of time, because historical data is gathered and is accounted to your data point, like if you're a data point or you're under your name, it gets accounted for. And then later on, wherever you go, and if you've booked a room, say a meeting room on a Tuesday somewhere, then before you come in at 8 o'clock when you have your meeting, the temperature, the settings of the room can be set as you like it. You like brighter lights or more of a blue light. All of these things can be set for you. So it's again a little bit more of a dynamic way where each room can actually morph or actually help adapt towards people's preferences based on their age and neurodiversity, which I have very little, I'm not an expert on, but I do see that if we can really take this well, where we connect enterprise softwares with smart building platform services and technical building installations, you can definitely do that and bring in the flexibility, not only through passive design and through architecture and making spaces better, as Maria illustrated, but also do it dynamically on a more personalized fashion per person. Yeah.
I would definitely say that personalization and custom design, specifically custom design, is super important. People underestimate what a bad design can do, because it's not supposed to just look pretty. It's supposed to work for whoever is in the space. So they should know who is using it, why are they using it. And even just putting, I don't know, fruits or snacks in a certain space can make it a social area. Whereas if you move it, or I don't know, just take it somewhere in the corner where no one likes to go, you can really do a lot of design and layout. So it's really important. And I think another interesting thing that I've learned, WeWork, the co-working, what they figured out throughout the years is that their design team just uses different types of lights for different how to say spaces to work. So they use cool white light where they want to go people for focused work. They don't say focused work or focus zone anywhere. They just put cool, harsh lights. And then where they want everyone to collaborate, to spend time, to chit chat, they put warm yellowish lights. It's like natural selection. Like people just know where to go to do certain things.
Yeah, and all of that you just said, I think it comes with data. Having data about how the building reacts, or how's the building performance, and how's the people performance, and crossing both information to be able to make it more automatically, like the system acts before you need it, like tells you, okay, let's go to this meeting room because it's the one that is more adapted to you, but at the same time being able to communicate the other way around. So yeah, it's understanding the natural, like personal human behavior, and having data for both the building, the people, and being able to have that diversity and that personalization in mind.
And we're pulled towards those healthy spaces, right? Like I've done a lot of research studies where I'll make one space really, really nice, right? With great lights, with nutritious food and snacks, with lots of plants, with good thermal comfort, with everything like that. And it draws everybody else in. So I think one of the things we're seeing with occupancy technology right now is that people are actually going towards those healthier spaces, the quieter spaces, the more comfortable spaces. And I think we do have some natural pull towards that. And we were talking about, feedback mechanisms, and we were talking about kind of personalization, and that idea of empowering people to, there's so much talk about, should we should we force people into flex working, or should we force people to come to the office, or how do we force people to be happy and productive? And maybe the answer is we allow people to show us the way, right? And you kind of, like you said, self-selection or space selection, maybe, where the good the good spaces really rise to the top, and you say, okay, this is working. You know, the northwest corner is working. Something's going on there that people are really feeling, and that's great. Something over here is just a big bummer. And is it the light? Are there not enough plugs? You know, usually, sometimes it's Wi-Fi, sometimes it's plugs, but usually, in my experience, it's environment. It's a terrible drafty air. It's terrible light. It's a really noisy team next to the sales team or something. So how do we get these voices to just start dictating the I mean, is it those feedback mechanisms, Andrea, that you were talking about?
Yeah.
Do we just need to listen to the data?
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what we were getting at, is that we have to listen to the feedback mechanisms. If things are not working, what is wrong? And looking at, okay, this area has a lot of daylight, because you can, from your sensor information and also from, for example, what we have as well, like we have the building we have like building energy models running simultaneously with the digital twin. So you can always real time know how much daylight is in which spaces, what is the thermal comfort in those areas. So you already know, oh, this southwest corner or the northwest corner, as you were mentioning, is quite warm and cozy. And so winter day, oh, everyone's going there. Why they are going there? Because of the sensor information and feedback mechanisms from people changing set points, or because it's noisy from your acoustic sensor, you get to know that's why some people prefer certain spaces over others. And then really utilizing that to not only provide comfort and making sure those levels are maintained as to why some places are really working well, but also, so for example, if a place is not necessarily used that much because it's too shaded or something, it's out of the hands of the environment, then just turn off the supplies there per se, so that you use less energy, there's lesser maintenance needed. And it's also a good indication to the property manager that, okay, this area is really not getting used, I might as well use it for something else it's better suited for. It's not suited for meeting rooms anymore, but let me make it something else. So indeed, therefore, feedback mechanisms and having really good discretized data of your spaces is so important, because then you can always, at a periodic time, really look into the data and see what is working and what's not working, and then further optimize the spaces to get the best out of it. Not only save money, but also to provide comfort. Yeah.
We got a great question from SBC. What is next? What research should be done? What do we hope for in the future? And we work with a lot of universities, so this is a time to push something out in the universe to come back. So what do we want, ladies? And I'll share mine too.
I think first should be prepare like return on investment, like why to invest into buildings, and that there is something you get back, that people, investors and companies, stop seeing it as a cost and they see it as an investment, and that it does make sense why, and like put some numbers to it, people like numbers.
Anybody next?
I don't know. I feel, yes, indeed, in terms of what is really needed is we need more proactivity from investors and developers to really take the leap of faith. Also with newer, smarter technologies, and when research is already saying like, hey, this works and this is what's the future looks like, because there's so much research and development that's already been done regarding health and well-being, indoor climate, and some of these things are so simple and logical but still not adopted, right? I think it's really about somehow, like for me, the main thing is to really create the market awareness, or like really having these stakeholders who can make the change be aware be aware of the latest latest developments, and not. And sometimes, indeed, as Manya said, it's really about money. Like everybody likes numbers, but sometimes, like somehow, if we can manage to change their perception and they don't count money, but also look into the other softer sides of building and other building stakeholders, that would be, that would be my input. I would say, in that sense, that's what we need a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I can add anything else to what you just said, because I really agree with having all this proactivity. I think that's a key point, because there's a lot of research already done. There's a lot of technical part that understands the way the buildings work and behave, and the technology is there. Technology for improving and enhancing better solutions for environmental quality. But yeah, we need to take action, and maybe it's that investment that you were saying, Manja, about yeah, we know that we need to do that. We know it is important. The research is there. There's a real impact on health and people well-being, and we know that impact on well-being means money for the company. I mean, if you don't really invest in your people's, in your team health, that is going to be money at the end of the year for you. So yeah, we need to cross both situations. Research and market need to get together, so we really take action in a proper way and at the same time. Because I guess, I mean, I know the research is already done, and there's still a lot to continue on the research and to continue understanding different parts of the building, different factors, and understanding the more chemical part of the building, and understanding all this data, how the data relates with the research. Yeah, we have that, and we can do it. And there's still so many projects going on research about the knowledge related with environmental quality factors. But yeah, that needs to be in the market, and that needs to be something that we all know and that we all invest. Companies, big companies, small companies, and also people in the more residential aspect. I mean, in people housing also. So that way, local authorities can invest in promoting real healthier buildings for their people, even though it's not a workplace, but that would make people more aware of the place where they work. Because my house is like this. Why my office is not like that? So yeah, I think we need all to get together and work together. So yeah, technology can be a key facilitator, but through understanding all the different factors.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I agree with all of those things. I'm going to add my own, just out of fun. I would love if there was some more research done on kind of some simple aspects of neurodiversity that people could start analyzing and kind of checking themselves. And Maria, your team is actually doing this a little bit, has kind of started questioning the way that they work best, and I want to hear about that. And then the other piece of research I want is environmental factors, not bad environments impact on children and the elderly, but what we can actually do very easily and simply, what these technologies can do to transform our daycares, our schools, and our elderly facilities, because there's no excuse. The technology's out there. Those people need to have healthy indoor environments, and they took care of us, or we're supposed to be taking care of them now. So either way, I think that's there. But Maria, can you tell us, and we're wrapping up a little bit, but can you tell us about how your team has started kind of questioning the norm a little bit, what we were talking about? How do you feel it out? So you're taking some of the research that's been done and you're saying, let's start thinking about how we work best.
Yeah, it's actually, it's been a more natural process. Actually, we've been working in an innovation center for 4 years. We're startup company working on indoor environmental quality and indoor air quality solutions. And we had all the facilities of a large work center, meeting rooms, spaces for events, and all of that. But the day-to-day spaces we were using as office, they were not well equipped. The light was not right, the noise, we didn't even have enough space for the whole team to work together. So after some rough time for the team, it was not easy to be able to have all the team together, understand what we were working on. We decided we needed our new headquarters, and we wanted them to strengthen, to make stronger the way we wanted to work through collaborative work and transparency. And that was our desire, like the leader team desire. But it was also something we had in mind, and we talked with the team, with the rest of the team. We wanted everybody to identify with the values of health and wellness and innovation and energy efficiency that we were selling to our clients, but also in our space that we were going to use. And it was more or less like that. The architectural solutions, the equipment, they were not only the result of the design criteria, but we still have a lot to go on this issue though. But I think it was the result of the intention that the whole team put into making this space represent us and motivate us. And that was the key point. And it was not only about technical solutions, but team commitment. And of course, this space shows the way we work. We monitor the indoor air quality here to facilitate and control a ventilation system. We provide information. We have a small showroom showing all these hardware and software solutions related with indoor air quality. But here, the technology is just the beginning. What really matters here is how we support people, like how we promote our healthy environment through the technology we use, the demand control ventilation, but also through health promotion, like our team promotion, healthy lifestyle, and all this team commitment. And we've been here for a very short time, but the team is, you can feel it. We were talking earlier, it's not, we haven't measured yet. It's been only a few months and we still need a lot to do in the office and in understanding what are going to be our measurement key factors. But the team looks happy. We feel happy and committed with the company and the values we stand for. And and here I would say the working environment and the commitment are both the basis and the consequence of the cohesive team. And here the space has been a common thread. So it is very nice to be part of this and still have some more work to do and measure to understand what is going to affect us more, where the spaces we use more related with how the building is, how the office is designed. But this is quite a small space. We're not such a big company to have so many different places to choose. But it's very satisfying to understanding that the office and the building is it's impacting us in a very positive way. So it feels very empowering for the company since we have moved in. And
Andrea, it feels like you have a follow-up, or no?
No, I was just agreeing to that. We also did, indeed, sometimes it's not really so much about technology, but how the whole company, the culture, all of these things matter so much to actually make a more healthier and have a better well-being of employees in an indoor space and environment. When I talk about a lot of technology and like smart buildings and data and stuff, they tend to forget the humane aspects, which are so much more important. It's key. Indeed, and these are also very much achievable in terms of what can be done by a company with whatever scale they're at for themselves. So for us also, we have we work out all together, and then we have these, as Manya had mentioned, that having spaces with putting up fruits and then changing the interior design a little bit to create these kind of coffee corner and office spaces. And we have focus areas, and some one of the floors is just like a more of a fun, upbeat sales team is always there kind of a floor, like dividing and like changing some of the things, changes that are really within our own capabilities as a company can significantly affect the health and well-being of employees. Of employees, and I totally agree to that. And of course, technology makes it better. I will never stop talking about that. But indeed, one of the integral parts is just having people, putting people at the center. Yeah.
Love that.
And I also wanted to add to what you just said, that technologies that we're working through and the solution we offer to our clients. But we are aware that the basis is the trust that allows us to work face-to-face or hybrid formula or face-to-face and online work. I don't know. And we have that flexibility in our office room, and still at the end, we come to the office. I mean, it's we need to feel of being together and working together, and that is something that being able to have it through the space, that's something really important.
I love that. Well, I think it's about that time. Unless Manya, you have a little follow-up to that. No.
I would definitely agree that in the end, buildings are made for humans, so they should serve whoever is using them, whether that being employees, like if it's your home, it's meant to be for you, so it should serve you. I definitely agree that data and technology is the way to go, because then it's not, oh, I feel that the air is not so great, but I can see that the air is not so great. So, it's different. It's, like, and it gives you a sense of empowerment as well. I think organizations need to learn to listen to their employees more, because I found that from our experience that they almost never complain about silly things. When they complain, it's something that's really bugging them and it affects their work and their day. And they should have opportunity to say what they want to say without, I wouldn't say punishments, because that sounds like we're in kindergarten, but that they feel safe to say it, like especially when it comes to silly things like bad ventilation or like, I don't know, lighting. I really think it's like Andrila said, like it should be human centered. Design, technology, whatever we do, it should be human centered.
Well, and I loved also what Andrea said about just letting the technology be the feedback, right? Not having to have people complain 20 times, but say, okay, what's wrong with this part of the office? And then knowing that there's a problem and letting those feedback mechanisms not only show people what's going on, but also show the organization what's going on. So we started this talk very optimistic, or optimistic that we're making progress. And I feel like we're ending there too, because I really feel that we have technical solutions that can do amazing things, simply, efficiently, continuously learning and getting better, just like humans love everything to do. And we have people who are getting more and more impatient, more and more pushy for environments that don't make us sick, but also make us feel happy and inspired and all of those other things. So we're almost there with kind of the triangle of that we need putting this together. So I think it's just about continuing to push. Thank you all for being voices and influencers in this industry. Thank you for being impatient and pushing for something better. And thank you for keeping people at the center, as always. Thank you so much for being with us. And till the next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.